Wish TV is focused on family and the community and is committed to sharing the stories of those who are making a difference every day. From the All Indiana Podcast Network and Wish TV, this is Behind the Eight Podcast with Wish TV's George Mallet.
George Mallet here with the Behind the Eight Podcast. Today we're going to be talking to Phil Sanchez, the anchor of the new broadcast News 8 at 11 with Phil Sanchez. In a moment, we'll talk to Phil.
What can 160 years of experience teach you about the future? A lot, especially when it comes to protecting what matters. At Pacific Life, we've helped people and businesses confidently embrace the future with life insurance, retirement income, and employee benefits. With strategies built on strength and trust, and a promise to be here for you today and tomorrow. Ask a financial professional how Pacific Life can help you today. Pacific Life Insurance Company, Omaha, Nebraska, and in New York. Pacific Life and Annuity, Phoenix, Arizona.
Audible's romance collection has something to satisfy every side of you. When it comes to what kind of romance you're into, you don't have to choose just one. Fancy a dalliance with a duke, or maybe a steamy billionaire. You could find a book boyfriend in the city and another one tearing it up on the hockey field. And if nothing on this earth satisfies, you can always find love in another realm. Discover modern rom-coms from authors like Lily Chu and Ali Hazelwood, the latest romantasy series from Sarah J. Maas and Rebecca Yarros, plus Regency favorites like Bridgerton and Outlander. And of course, all the really steamy stuff. Your first great love story is free when you sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com/Wondery. That's audible.com/Wondery.
Welcome, George Mallet here, your host for Behind the Eight, when we talk to the newsmakers right here at Channel 8. Today, our guest is none other than Phil Sanchez, the evening anchor here at News Channel 8. And Phil, tell us, first of all, about the new broadcast. It's got your name on it.
Right. George, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. News 8 at 11 o'clock with Phil Sanchez started right around Christmas time. The difference between News 8 at 11 with Phil Sanchez and other newscasts is this one's going to be a little bit quicker. Mm-hmm. You know, we're so used to seeing longer format stories. This is quick. This is people need to know their news before they're getting ready for the next day. So that's the goal behind it. But we're also throwing in a segment called Unfiltered, which is where I get to sit down with newsmakers throughout Central Indiana and go a little bit more in depth. So it's kind of a combination, kind of a hybrid of quick news, but also in-depth news. And again, the whole goal is to get folks ready for the next morning. You know, a lot of people are getting ready to go to work, go to school. They need to know some of the important topics, what the weather's going to be like, that type of stuff. So that's the purpose of it.
The Unfiltered segment, as an anchor who's been doing this a long time and is so often limited in the amount of time you can devote to a particular interview.
Sure.
That's got to be gratifying.
I think it is. You know this. Oftentimes we don't get a lot of time with people. And what folks see on air is a snippet of what we're able to actually get through when we talk to people. So this gives us a little bit more time, questions that maybe we wouldn't have time for in a normal newscast that we're able to put on at 11 o'clock. I like that.
I want to get a little bit of the Phil Sanchez story because you've been in the business a long time.
Yeah.
You've done stints other places, but you call Central Indiana home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Tell me about some of the stops you've made.
I first started in Utica, New York. I was there for about a year, and then I went out a little more than a year, and then I went out to a cable station in New Jersey. I was there for a few years. Came out here originally in 2007. Did 4 years here, and then went to our then sister station in Raleigh, North Carolina for a few years, and came back here to Central Indiana at Wish TV in 2015 and been here ever since. And part of the reason why we came back, number one, love Indianapolis. My wife is from here. When I first moved out here back in 2007, we were neighbors. We met at an apartment complex on the north side of Indianapolis, and we've been together ever since. So my son was born while we were in Raleigh, so that gave us 2 kids, and we wanted to be a little closer to family. And this opportunity to come back here at Wish TV and be with friends and work here again was a no-brainer.
Being the evening anchor at a television station, that is a coveted role. Mm-hmm. That's what all young reporters, maybe not all, but many young reporters aspire to become.
Yeah.
How much fun is it? I get the sense that you appreciate your good fortune.
Right. Totally. Because I think we're from kind of the same era, maybe me on the backside of it, where you had to put in your time. You had to be out in the street. When I started, I was, especially when I started here, I was the daybreak reporter. I was, and we only had one daybreak reporter at the time. I think we were doing 3 hours at that point of daybreak, and we had one reporter. So I really appreciate being able to do the evening news. And you'd have to, back in the day, I don't think you'd probably have to put in 15 years before you can even sniff doing an evening newscast on the anchor desk. So, and I've been doing it for almost 20 years now. So there is that. So I have the chops, but I definitely appreciate it. There's no doubt about it. I don't take it for granted.
So how much fun are you having in this new role? I say new role because it's got a new name, but in this role.
A lot of fun because I have a little bit more wiggle room, a little bit more say, a little bit more flexibility. And I credit our bosses here at Wish TV for allowing me to have that, and also for entrusting me with that as well. That's what I like about Wish. We have the time. We're able to do a little bit of a different type of news than other stations are. It's not as traditional as some of the other newscasts you're going to see across the area.
One of the things that strikes me is that the newscast now bears your name. It's with Phil Sanchez,
right?
And that's an honor that has often been held out for the Peter Jennings and Tom Brokaw or Dan Rather, but
right.
Does any pressure come with that, I guess is what I'm asking.
A little bit, but I don't think I try not to think about that too much, which I think is easier said than done. I take it as an honor. I was like, yeah, this is great. I think it's a pat on the back. So I try not to. I played baseball growing up, so a lot of failure in baseball. So I try not to get too high, try not to get too low. I try to stay even keeled, and that was the mentality I had on the baseball field, and I've tried to do that throughout TV news career as well.
You brought up baseball. For people who don't have a lot of background on Phil Sanchez away from the anchor desk, what does Phil Sanchez do on a Saturday morning?
Baseball practice with my son. He's 7 years old. He's a huge baseball fan. He's a huge baseball player, so we're doing that. He also plays basketball and football. My daughter does competitive cheer and tennis, so we're constantly running around doing that kind of stuff. The wife and I, always involved with the kids. My daughter's 11, my son's 7, so we're busy. I'm also a big runner, so whenever I have time to do that, I'm out there getting some miles in. So that's about it. I think I don't have a lot of off time, so when I do, that's what I'm doing.
Well, as an old guy who wore his knees out, I might caution you to get on the elliptical trainer instead.
Right, but, or the Peloton.
Right, exactly, all that stuff. I'm trying to think about what else people would want to know about Phil Sanchez. You're able to show a little bit of your personality, but not a ton of it in the confines of an evening broadcast.
Right, not like you guys get to do on some of the other shows that we have here, which I do miss because I've hosted those shows, and those shows are fun. But like you said, it's more harder news. I do a politics show here, so it's a little bit more buttoned up. But with social media, I think it's become folks are a little bit more available. People are able to get to know us a little bit more. Interesting story for me is, I grew up in Queens, New York. I had no intentions of being in news at all. I know a lot of people in our business, they know from when they're a little kid, they want to be a TV news broadcaster. They want to be an anchor. They want to be a reporter. That wasn't the case for me. I played baseball. I studied sociology and political science in college. I was an actor. I grew up, like I said, 15 minutes from Manhattan. I started doing modeling work and commercial work when I was 14, 15 years old. Had a couple lines in some soap operas. Did some theater work in New York. I had no idea what I wanted to do until I was 22 years old, and I just turned 22, and 9/11 happened. Mm-hmm. And my town was hit extremely hard. We lost more than a dozen people. My girlfriend at the time lost her father. So we were hit pretty hard, my area was, and I got addicted to TV news. I'd always been a TV news watcher and viewer and consumer, but I never thought of it as a career until that unfortunate event happened. And it made me think totally differently about my career and what I wanted to do. I thought maybe I'd go to law school. Instead, I went to grad school for broadcast journalism and just got my first job.
And I don't want to get too far off into left field, but I would actually make the argument, and you might agree with me, that a little bit of a theater, acting, even the modeling background, that's storytelling also. And there's an argument to be made that is good groundwork for television news.
I would agree. And without, like you said, getting too far into the woods, talking to a camera is not an easy thing to do. So I thought my acting background would help with that. And it did a little bit, but it's still when you start doing it, it's tough to get good at it because with acting, a lot of acting is reacting. We're talking right now, we're conversing, you're shaking your head. I'm reacting to you as we talk. That doesn't happen with a camera. So you have to, in your mind, think like you're talking to a person when it's a $30,000 camera looking right back at you. So there is that, but it does help. I mean, there's no doubt about having that background helped me transition into this field. The journalism part, though, that's a totally different ballgame, and I don't want to sugarcoat what we do because there is a part to what we do that goes beyond just being on TV. I mean, you have to know the tools of the trade.
The program is called News 8 at 11 with Phil Sanchez, and he is Phil Sanchez. Phil, thanks for being with me today.
Thank you very much, George.
Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm George Mallet, the host of Behind the 8 podcast. Be sure to connect and follow us on Facebook when you search for Behind the 8. And be sure to follow and subscribe to this podcast and all the others on the All Indiana Podcast Network.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is Behind the 8 podcast with Wish TV's George Mallet. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And connect for even more on Facebook and at wishtv.com.